Fit to Build Academy teaches homeowners how to plan, manage and complete your dream home build so that you increase your knowledge and manage your project team with a confidence normally reserved for experienced professionals. This podcast is about one thing, building your knowledge and confidence so you can be the expert of your project even when you have never built before. If you want to build your knowledge and confidence and use it to take action, then you're in the right place. All this information is 100% free, so please subscribe and review our podcast. This is Fit to Build Academy. Hey, it's Chris here and welcome to Fit to Build, and the first of our deep dive series where we explore the home building design and construction process. This deep dive conversation series is based entirely on the Fit to Build Academy Home Building Mastery Program. Give you a sneak peek into what is required of you, the homeowner, when building a home. In my view, you can't just set and forget and hope that the design and build team will deliver exactly what you want. The project needs to be actively managed. That's why businesses actively employ project managers, something I have done over the past 20 years managing complex projects on behalf of clients. Over those many years as a designer, builder and project manager, I have worked with homeowners and equally businesses spending millions of dollars on projects, and have observed that the successful projects are well planned and resourced, and the failures are often the complete opposite. The one theme that kept recurring with these projects was that the successful homeowners had a very good grasp of the complexities of the building process and had the right mindset to be able to deal with the issues as they came along. They also realized that they had gaps in knowledge and sought to fill them before making decisions. And conversely, those that failed had not grasped what was required of them through the building process and were ill prepared for the complexities that are required of you as the homeowner when building. The Home Building Mastery Program was born out of a desire to help homeowners make good decisions before they get too deep into the project. To help people improve their knowledge and fully understand the building process, select the right builder, develop the confidence to deal with issues with their builder, and recognize the warning signs to avert costly mistakes. My view is that without this knowledge, homeowners will continue to fail to understand the building process, make expensive mistakes, which creates financial strain and confusion or mistrust of the building team they have chosen. The following deep dive conversation, created with the help of our friends at Google, outline the steps involved in building a home. They explain the 4 phases of the building process: pre-design and planning, design, the tender and bid phase, and then the construction phase. Each of these phases is further broken down into smaller steps, with each step explained in detail. Underlying this is that we want you to fully understand the building process to make informed decisions and to ensure a successful home building project. So without further delay, let's dive in.
All right, so let's dive into something I bet a lot of you have been thinking about, building a home.
Oh, yeah, it's a big one.
It is a big one, and we've got this awesome resource to help guide us through it.
Okay, cool.
It's from Fit to Build Academy, and it's called The Building Roadmap.
Makes sense. A roadmap, like, any big trip.
Exactly.
If you know the route ahead of time, it can definitely, get you out.
Avoid those headaches, right?
Totally.
Yeah, and it's not just about, avoiding, wrong turns. This is about making sure that dream home doesn't become a financial nightmare.
You got it. That's why the presentation is super focused on this idea that building a home, it's a process, not just a random, bunch of events.
Right.
There's a flow to it. There's a structure you got to follow for the best outcome.
Okay, so no skipping steps or winging it.
Definitely not.
What I thought was interesting is they compared it to building a house of cards.
Oh, yeah.
You need that solid foundation before you can even think about putting on the roof.
Such a good analogy. And that's exactly where phase 1 comes in.
Okay.
Redesign and planning the groundwork.
Okay, so let's talk about that starting point.
Yeah.
I imagine for a lot of people, it's, that feeling of, okay, I'm ready to create a space that's truly mine.
Yeah. for sure. That's often like the big driving force, you know?
Yeah.
But this phase is about way more than just like the emotional why.
Right.
It's also about
Right.
it's also about like really getting specific about your needs, you know, how
Yeah.
how you see yourself using the space and like what your future goals are for the home.
Yeah. Before we get too carried away,
Mm-hmm.
you know, dreaming about all that, the presentation throws a little cold water on things.
Yeah, the budget talk.
The budget talk.
It's a bummer, but
That's gonna happen though, right?
yeah, as much as we love those big visions, you know, got to make them fit within
Yeah.
a realistic financial framework. That's where the practical side comes in.
And that's where I think this concept of overcapitalization comes in.
Oh.
I have to admit something I wasn't too familiar with before I dug into this stuff.
So overcapitalization, basically, it happens when you spend more on building the house than what the market in that area would value it at.
Oh, I see.
So imagine like putting a gourmet kitchen in a tiny starter home.
Okay. Yeah.
It might be amazing, but you're not going to get that money back when you sell.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay.
So it's about being smart with your money
Mm-hmm.
and really understanding like the limits of your specific location. So how can someone figure out if they're at risk of doing that, overcapitalizing?
Talking to a real estate agent who knows your area is like the best thing you can do. They can tell you what buyers are willing to pay
Okay.
for certain features and then help you set a budget that actually makes sense, you know?
Yeah, that makes sense. It's like getting that expert opinion before you even start drawing up those dream plans.
Totally. And once you've got that budget, then you can move into like the planning and goal setting stage. This is where you figure out what's a must-have, what's a nice-to-have, and make sure your vision is realistic.
This is where those tough decisions come in.
It is.
Yeah, suddenly that home theater room might not feel quite as important.
You got to prioritize. It's all about finding that balance, right?
Yeah.
Maybe the home theater can wait, but that extra bedroom for a growing family,
Right.
that's non-negotiable. So you got to make those choices strategically.
Yeah, and all of this planning, you know, it's great.
Oh, for sure.
Very crucial element, financing.
Absolutely. Getting your financing sorted is critical in phase one.
Yeah,
It's often a super emotional process.
I bet.
Tons of paperwork, big decisions, but having that pre-approved mortgage
Okay.
gives you a solid framework to move forward.
It's reassuring, right, to know where you stand before you get too deep into the design phase.
Yeah, you don't want to get your heart set on stuff you can't afford.
Exactly. And once you have that financing sorted out, what's next?
The last piece of the puzzle is finding your designer.
Okay, this sounds as a big decision.
It is.
What are some of the key things you should consider when choosing, you know, the person who's going to bring your vision to life?
You're going to be working really closely with this person, so a good relationship is key.
Yeah.
But you also need to make sure they fit your budget, your style, and that they've got experience with projects similar to yours.
So it's kind of like a mix of finding someone who's talented, trustworthy, and like gets your vision.
Exactly.
It sounds like the presentation really trustworthy and like gets your vision.
Exactly.
It sounds like the presentation really emphasizes doing your research here and not rushing into this decision.
It does, because that careful consideration in phase one sets you up for a smoother ride through the rest of the process.
This is so helpful.
Yeah.
We've covered like all the foundational elements, right? From that initial spark of an idea all the way to getting the financing and finding the right design partner.
We've laid the groundwork, and now with that solid foundation in place, we can move on to the next phase, the design phase, where the vision really starts to come together.
I am excited to see where this roadmap takes us. We'll be back soon to explore, you know, those creative and technical aspects of bringing your dream home to life on paper. For now, take a moment, just reflect on your own why. What's driving your desire to build? And what are those non-negotiable elements that you just aren't willing to compromise on?
Good questions to think about.
Yeah, think deep dive into building a home.
We're back.
We are back.
All right.
So we laid the groundwork, right, with all the planning, budgeting, financing, all that.
The not so fun stuff.
Yeah, the not so fun stuff.
But important.
Very important. But now it's time to roll up our sleeves and dive into the design phase.
Yes, this is where things get exciting.
This is where I think everyone gets really excited, right?
This is where the vision really starts to take shape, you know, in a tangible way. It's like you're taking those dreams and ideas and turning them into an actual plan.
I love that. So the presentation breaks this phase down into several steps.
Okay.
Starting with the concept design. What exactly happens here?
So basically, think of it like the first draft of your dream home.
Okay.
Your designer takes everything you've told them about your needs, your lifestyle, budget style, all that.
Yeah.
And they create an initial design concept.
So is this where we start to see those cool 3D renderings?
Yeah.
And floor plans?
You'll get to see the layout of the house where the rooms are, how everything flows together, and start to get a feel for how you'll actually live in the space.
Oh, that's got to be so exciting, right?
It is.
To see those ideas like literally come to life.
For sure.
But I imagine this is just the starting point. There's still more refining to do, right?
Oh, yeah, you're absolutely right. The next step is design development.
Okay.
This is where we refine and get into all the details.
So like what kind of details are we talking about here?
So this is where you'll pick out things like materials, finishes, fixtures, making sure every element matches your vision and that all-important budget.
I think this is also where those specifications come into play, right?
Yes, exactly.
Can you explain what those are?
Yeah, so specifications are like super detailed instructions for the builder.
Yeah.
They tell them everything you want from the type of insulation to window ratings.
Yeah.
Even down to the specific brand of faucets and door handles.
So it's not just about picking out a tile. It's about saying, I want this exact tile.
Exactly.
This grout tile.
Exactly.
This grout color and this installation method, all those little things.
It's all about the details, and getting them right up front prevents like misunderstandings and costly changes down the line.
Yeah, that makes sense, having those specifics laid out.
Yeah.
It's like having a recipe for your dream home.
I love that analogy.
Right. Got to make sure every ingredient is perfect.
Exactly. And then once you've got all the details and specifications finalized, the designer creates the construction plans.
Okay, so these are like the official blueprints, right?
They are the blueprints, the instruction manual for the entire building process. They include all the technical drawings, measurements, and specifications.
Wow. It's amazing to think that these documents are what turn those initial sketches
I know, it's crazy.
into a real building.
It is quite the transformation, and then before you can actually start construction, there's one more crucial step, getting a building permit.
Oh, right. So that's all about getting approval from county.
It's all about making sure everything's up to code.
Okay.
A building surveyor will review your plans and specs to make sure they meet safety, accessibility, energy efficiency standards.
It's good to know that there are those checks and balances in place.
It's super important.
Makes you feel better knowing that the house will be built to code.
Exactly.
All right. So with the building permit in hand, you're ready for the next phase, right?
Yes, we are.
Finding the right builder.
This is where we go from the world of design and paper to hammers and nails.
I am eager to explore that. But before we do, let's recap what we learned about the design phase.
Good idea.
Okay. So we started with the concept design, the initial vision.
Yeah.
Then we moved into design development, all defined details and specifications.
Right.
We talked about the importance of those construction plans, the blueprints, and getting that building permit to ensure everything is up to code.
All super important steps.
They are. And with those steps completed, we're ready to move on.
To the tender phase.
Yes.
This is where we find the right partner to actually build the dream home.
I am feeling so much more informed and confident about this whole process now.
Good. That's what we're here for.
Yeah. So in the next part of our deep dive, we'll demystify the process of finding and selecting a builder.
Yes.
Awesome. So stay tuned. We'll be right back. Welcome back to our deep dive into home building.
We're in the home stretch now.
We are. We've explored the planning, the budgeting, the design, and now we're at the really exciting part.
The actual building.
Construction.
Yes, this is where it all comes together.
I bet it's incredible to see like those blueprints actually transform into a house.
It really is. It's amazing to watch.
So what's the very first thing that happens once you've got your builder on board?
Well, the first thing is signing the building contract.
Okay.
This is the official agreement between you and the builder. You know, all legal and everything.
Right, so it lays out everything.
It does the scope of the work payment schedules, timelines, the whole 9 yards.
This feels like the let's do this moment.
Exactly. It's like solidifying that partnership.
I like that. Okay, so contract signed. What's next?
Then we can start. Site start.
Site start. What does that mean?
Basically, it's getting the property ready for construction.
So more than just showing up with a truckload of lumber.
Oh, yeah. There's a lot more to it. They'll clear the land, set boundaries, put up fencing for safety.
Okay.
Maybe even set up a little site office or storage.
So it's like setting the stage.
Exactly.
I like that. Okay, site's prepped and ready. What happens next?
Now the real action starts.
The actual construction.
Yes, the construction process happens in stages.
Okay, can you walk me through those stages?
Absolutely. So it usually starts with the foundation, the base of your house. They'll excavate, pour the concrete footings and walls.
Right, to make sure it's super solid and level.
Exactly. Got to have a strong foundation.
Then what?
Then comes the framing.
Oh, okay. So that's like building the skeleton?
Yep, putting up the walls, the floors, the roof structure.
So this is where the house really starts to take shape.
It does. You can start to see the layout of the rooms.
Got to be cool to see that.
Oh, it is.
Okay, what's next?
After framing, we move on to lockup.
Lockup.
That's when the house starts to feel enclosed and protected.
Okay, so what exactly happens during lockup?
They put up the exterior walls, the windows, doors, and the roof.
So you're basically creating a weather-tight shell.
Exactly. Protecting the structure from the elements.
Very important then, what?
Once it's locked up, we move to the fix stage.
Okay.
This is where the interior really starts to come together.
Where all those design details we picked come to life.
Yes. They'll install insulation, plasterboard, internal doors, cabinetry fixtures, all that good stuff.
Wow, so it's like adding those layers of personality.
Yeah, turning it into a real home.
Love it. Okay, what's the final stage?
The final stage is completion.
Okay.
This is all the finishing touches, painting, tiling, flooring, landscaping.
Like putting the final touches on a masterpiece?
Exactly.
And then the big moment.
Completion and handover.
Yes. The keys are yours.
The builder does a final inspection, make sure everything's good to go, and then you take possession.
That must feel amazing.
Oh, it does. So much work goes into it.
It does, but it's not quite over yet, right? What about the defects period?
Yes. Good point. So there's usually a defects period for a few months.
Yeah.
It's basically a safety net for both you and the builder.
So if anything unexpected pops up?
Exactly. You have time to get it fixed.
That's good peace of mind.
It is.
Well, this has been so informative. We've really gone through the whole process.
From start to finish.
I know. I feel like I could build a house now.
Almost.
Almost. Well, maybe not. But I definitely feel way more prepared and knowledgeable.
That's the goal.
It is. And I think that's really important for anyone thinking about building a home.
For sure, it's a big decision.
It is a huge decision. It's a big investment,
Yeah.
Financially and emotionally. And it can be a long process.
Yeah, you got to be patient.
But with the right knowledge and a good team,
You can do it.
you can do it. And it's probably one of the most rewarding things you'll ever do.
It really is. There's nothing like having a home that you built yourself.
Well, thank you so much for taking us on this deep dive into the world of home building.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for listening to today's episode. If you would like to work with us to build your dream home or project, please go to fit2buildacademy.com or follow us on Instagram at fit2buildacademy, where we have a link in the bio to book an appointment to chat with us. If you enjoyed today's episode, please review and subscribe, and we'll catch you next on Fit to Build. Thanks so much for listening, and remember, go out there and build something amazing.